Today's lesson is going to be in two parts. It is on how to create a buttonhole with GIMP. The first part is going to be the gathering of the materials and the setting up of the sewing machine. And the second part is the actual sewing of the buttonhole with GIMP. The first thing that we need to do is decide on what type of thread we're going to use for our buttonhole. We can either use the normal buttonhole thread, which is a little thicker and heavyweight, and it makes for a sturdier buttonhole, or we can choose a all-purpose cotton or cotton polyester blend thread that we could use for garments. We're going to use the buttonhole thread today. The second thing that we're going to do is put in our bobbin. It's the same. We're going to put the bobbin into the bobbin case the same way. The only difference is, you see this little finger here? We're going to take the thread and we're going to put it through the finger. This actually helps with the bobbin tension. It's going to keep it a little bit more tight with our stitches so that we get a nicer look on our buttonhole. And we're just going to put that into our buttonhole. And then we're going to bring the bobbin thread up. We're going to close our bobbin case. And we're going to change our presser foot. This is our normal regular stitch presser foot 1. We're going to switch it out for an 3A. And you can see it's a lot different. Okay, this is a gauge for measuring the buttonhole length. And you can see there's an opening, and it has a red line. And then we have a red gauge that slides down on a ruler marking. And this is so that you can adjust it to the length of your buttonhole. And as you sew, this is going to move down this bar. You can see it moving. And you know that you have the correct length when the two lines meet. So we're going to put that on. So that's nice and secure. The next thing that we're going to do is decide what type of GIMP we're going to use. We can use embroidery floss. You can see it here, and it's sort of like a medium weight. We have a lighter weight, a thinner knit crochet yarn. And then we have a heavier string. Okay, and you gotta be careful. The thicker that you go, we want our zigzag for the B to go over it, so you need to be careful unless you're going to adjust the width of your stitch. Okay, we're going to go with the embroidery floss today. What you're going to have to do is we're going to put it onto our 3A presser foot, which is the buttonhole foot. Okay, we're going to take it to the back, and there is a little, I'll take this off to show you, a little hook on the back that we're going to hook our embroidery floss on, and this is going to hold it there. And I'll put this back on. And we're going to bring the threads underneath. We want to make sure that they're equal length. And we're going to bring them up along this guide. And we're going to bring them around and down and click them into place so that they're nice and secure. And you can see that our needle goes in between the two threads that are there. Okay, I'm going to adjust the length of our buttonhole as soon as I set the machine for the buttonhole stitch. We're going to go over here, and we're going to choose 0 on this model. And you can see on the screen that indicates that it's stitch number 10, and you can see the picture there that indicates that it is the buttonhole stitch. It recommends that we use presser foot number 3, whether it be 3 or 3A. And it also has a blinking line. That tells you what is the first line that it's going to be sewing on your buttonhole. Over here we have the stitch length, and you can see it's below 1. So the stitch length is going to be very tiny, very close together. Up here we have the stitch width, and it's almost 4.5. So it's going to be a little bit broad. And then our needle position is in the center. Okay, we're going to go back over to this section here. The next thing that we're going to do is remember the fabric sample that we got ready when we were doing the buttonhole measurements. We're going to use that now. So I have my buttonhole measurement there, my marking, and I want to make sure that this is secure. This presser foot actually has a little defect that it doesn't want to stay in there snugly. We're going to put this fabric underneath, and we're going to line this bar tack with the center slot that's in the presser foot. I'm just going to bring my needle down because I want to make sure that it is on the line of our marked buttonhole. And then I'm just going to lower it down. I'm going to move the buttonhole gauge to where the bar tack is at for the bottom. And we are ready to begin sewing. So we're going to stop the video here for part 1. We're going to discuss it, and you're going to have time to gather your materials, what you're going to use for your thread, for your machine, and what you're going to use for the look that you want for your gimp, and get your presser foot changed. We're going to make sure that you thread the finger in your bobbin case, and that you're going to set the machine to stitch for the buttonhole.